What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we're going to be talking about 6 sleepers that you can target in your redraft fantasy football leagues, and hopefully these players are going to return value and become contributors for your fantasy football team. So if this is your first time at the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of the content that we got coming year-round here at the League FFB. But without wasting any more time, let's hop right into today's video, and let's start talking about these 6 sleepers. All right, so the first sleeper I want to talk about here in today's video is going to be running back Jordan Mason for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, he's currently being drafted in the 9th round of those fantasy football drafts, and Minnesota didn't just stumble into Jordan Mason this offseason. They traded for him after the Niners put a 2nd round tender on him, which does show that they see him as more than just a depth piece behind Aaron Jones. Now, Mason flashed legit ability in San Francisco, averaging 95 rushing yards per game over a 7-game stretch while CMC missed time, and he ranked top 10 in broken tackle rate and yards after contact per carry, proving he's not just a volume guy. He's efficient with his touches, and he makes the most of his carries that he gets. Aaron Jones is 30 now and coming off of the heaviest workload of his career, which makes a committee in Minnesota very likely, and Mason could easily see 10 plus touches per week. And if Jones misses time, Mason instantly steps into a huge role in a high-scoring Vikings offense that should give him plenty of touchdown opportunities early on, making him definitely worthy of the draft selection for your team. Moving on to my second player, let's talk about wide receiver Josh Downs for the Indianapolis Colts. He is also being drafted in the 9th round of those drafts, and Downs is a target magnet, pulling in a 26% target share and a 30% targets per route run last year, numbers that are rivaling wide receivers drafted in the first 2 rounds of drafts. Now, he's shown consistency no matter who is at quarterback for the Colts, and Downs fits perfectly as a PPR-friendly flex or a wide receiver 3, depending on your league format, giving you a weekly floor value at a 9th round draft price. Now, while Pittman is technically the wide receiver 1, Downs has already carved out a locked-in role in this passing game, and he should remain a consistent variable in the Colts passing attack as long as he's healthy. And his efficiency, posting 2.29 yards per route run, proves that he isn't just a volume-based wide receiver. He can create big plays when given the opportunity, and if there were an injury to any of the receiving talent around him, he has the ability to pay off big time here in 2025. Let's move on to the tight end position. Tucker Kraft of the Green Bay Packers is my pick here for a sleeper tight end. He's being drafted in the 9th round as well. Now, Kraft quietly finished as the tight end 9 last year, piling up 700 yards and 7 touchdowns despite starting the year on most waiver wires. Now, he was a yak monster, averaging 8.8 yards after the catch per reception, 2 full yards better than any other qualified tight end, and big plays at the tight end position are rare to find. Kraft delivered 17 catches of 15 plus yards or more on just 70 targets last year, matching Travis Kelce on nearly half of the volume. The Packers offense projects to score plenty of points in 2025, giving Kraft steady touchdown upside, even if his receptions per game stay fairly modest and unpredictable. And drafting late round tight ends with elite after the catch skills in strong offenses is definitely a winning strategy, especially if you're punting the position. And there's no doubt in my mind that Tucker Kraft checks at least both of those boxes for your fantasy football teams. Let's go back to the wide receiver position. Let's talk Jayden Higgins of the Houston Texans, going right now in the 10th round of drafts, and he was drafted 34th overall in the NFL draft here this year, and Higgins has the draft capital and the size to step right into a starting role as a rookie here for the Texans. Now, with Tank Dell out for the year and Stephon Diggs gone, he's in line to be the wide receiver 2 opposite Nico Collins in those 2 wide receiver sets, and at 6'4", Higgins gives CJ Stroud a legit jump ball and red zone threat, especially paired with Nico Collins seeing the main defensive coverage. Now, Houston's passing game has room for another breakout in this offense, and Higgins' early opportunity plus Stroud's upside makes him a sneaky late round stash, so you're not drafting him to start week 1 per se, but the path is there for him to catch fire quickly in a very exciting offense that will likely be leaning on their passing game due to some injuries that they currently have in their running back room. Let's talk about a sleeper at the quarterback position. I want to talk Justin Fields of the New York Jets. He's currently going in the 11th round of drafts, and Fields has always been a very fantasy-friendly quarterback, averaging 18.9 fantasy points per game in 6 starts last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, rushing drives his value, with 43% of his career fantasy fantasy points coming from rushing on the ground. Since entering the NFL, he's averaged 50 rushing yards per start, giving him a weekly quarterback one floor regardless of the passing struggles that he has went through throughout the majority of his NFL career, and he's now one of the cheapest running quarterbacks in drafts, making him a very good late round upside swing. It's going to be very interesting to see how Justin Fields fits in this offense, reuniting with Garrett Wilson, but if the New York Jets let him use his legs and let him run freely here in this offense, he definitely has top 12 quarterback upside at a very discounted price. And moving on to my last guy, let's go back to the running back position. Tank Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars is the name to watch, currently being drafted in the 11th round of those drafts, and Bigsby led all qualified running backs in yards after contact per attempt last year, with 72% of his yardage coming after contact. Now, despite the committee in Jacksonville, he has quietly emerged as the best pure runner in this backfield, and he does have some untapped receiving upside from his days over at Auburn, even if it hasn't showed up at the NFL level just yet. Now, Liam Cohen's offenses have supported multiple top 24 running backs before, which makes Bigsby more interesting than I think people realize. And he is the cheapest running back to target in this backfield currently, with Travis Etienne and Bashal Tutin definitely being more hype driven. But if Tank Bigsby were to carve out an early down role, he could very well become a flex play for us here in fantasy football leagues this year, with potential to even become an RB2 in our lineups if he gets a larger role than expected. So there you have it. That is 6 sleepers that I am currently targeting in my own fantasy football drafts. Like I said, hopefully these guys can become contributors for your fantasy football teams, helping lead you guys to a championship. That is the goal for us over here on this channel. We want to help you guys win those fantasy football championships here in 2025. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel. That way you don't miss any future content. Also, if you found something in today's video informative, entertaining, actionable, make sure you hit the like button. It is the best free way to show this channel some support. And last but not least, make sure you go join our free Discord. We do have a free Discord linked in the description, helping you guys with your fantasy football teams 24/7, 365. There's a community of like 550 plus people that are all talking fantasy football. So like I said, it's free to join. There is no risk in joining that. Love to have you as part of this community. But with that being said, I have nothing else for you guys today. I'll see you on our next episode. But until then, peace out.